Ready, steady, go! Welcome to Studio MH Day. I'm Ina Yoga. I'm the International Coordinator for the International Menstrual Hygiene Day from WASH United, who is the initiator and also the International Secretariat for today. And I will lead you to today's show. I'm really excited to welcome you. To my right side is Thorsten Kiefer, who is the CEO of WASH United. And to my left is Jule Wernhard, our communication manager. Thorsten will co-moderate today's show with me, and Jule will provide us with really interesting insights and highlights what's happening around the world, and especially from social media. This is now the first of 3 spotlight sessions, and this is the Asia Pacific session. We have a jam-packed and diverse program for you, including conversations with a wide range of organizations, youth activists, coalitions, and individuals who really drive action and change around menstrual health and hygiene. We're featuring guests from Samoa, the Pacific, from Nepal, India, Pakistan, Afghanistan. So this will be really an interesting program for you, I hope. Jule will keep us up to date with what is happening online and share some of the highlights, as I said. Jule, we want to be really everyone to be able to add their voice. How can they do that?
How can you do it? How can you do that? So, as this day is about bringing the community together, especially in times of COVID-19, of course, we want you to be part of this live session today. And so keep on posting, tweeting, and sharing our illustrations. And show us what you have prepared for today. And how you want to add your voice to the movement. We're pretty excited to see everything you've done. Our handles are MH Day 28 May on Twitter and Menstrual Hygiene Day on Instagram and Facebook. And as you may know, our hashtags for this year's campaign are It's Time for Action, MH Day 2020, and Periods and Pandemics. So keep on posting, keep on tagging us, keep on using the hashtag so I can see what you're doing and then I can show it up here.
Great, Jule. So what are we waiting for? Let's get started. And our first guests are from very far away. They're from Samoa, the country who actually celebrated MH Day for the first, because it's the first time in the time zone. So Talufa to Samoa.
Okay. Hello from Berlin.
Talufa from Samoa.
Yeah, my first question to you is, because we really don't know much about the Pacific and Samoa, what are, in your opinion, the key challenges of women and girls to manage their menstruation?
I think the key challenge is that we're still very silent about a lot of things and a lot of taboo issues. Even though menstrual cycle might not feel like a taboo issue here in Samoa, it's something that's never spoken about. So the worry is health issues and making sure that they know how to use different products. And if they don't have products, what are they using and making sure that it's clean? Mita Temple.
The thing about menstrual, as a young woman myself, it's not really a dinner table conversation starter. So it's very hard to open up to certain people because periods, when you bring it up here in Samoa, everyone's like, so our mission is to go forward and teach the youth, the next generation, the importance of knowing about hygiene, menstrual hygiene.
Like what Doris and Mita says, I'm a guy, but I've seen girls, they're very shy, they're very scared to talk about it. I think it's because not only they're not feel comfortable about it, or maybe they don't know if it's health, if it's very safe for what they're using, if it's safe for their health or not. So that's what I think.
And I think that's our biggest issues is not being able to have that conversation with their mother and just getting thrown pads, and then they have to figure out themselves, which is very scary.
Okay, yeah, so, but I heard that many times.
Oh, it's freezing, I think it's lagging.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay.
It's a far away connection this morning or this evening.
Okay.
So what are you as Brown Girl Wokey doing to address those challenges you just mentioned?
Our organization is called Brown Girl Woke.
Not Wokey, okay, woke.
Is but I like it. What we're doing now is doing workshops in the rural areas. We actually, from a good friend, Afa Alu, who's a Samoan fashionista, he's a seamstress. He actually made the reusable pads in America with the church and sent over 60 bags that have reusable pads in it. We also got help from Days of Girls in New Zealand that sent us over 60 more, and just making partnerships so we can have something to give to these young girls, which reusable pads last for 5 years. So we're making sure it's not only giving it to them, but also going through how do you clean it? Why is it good to clean? Because a lot of girls don't know that blood and bacteria stays in cloths if you don't wash it well and you don't dry it well. So that's what we're doing now. We just started on Wednesday, 10 young girls and 10 mothers, so they can feel safe having that conversation with their mom.
As a member of the youth of Samoa, it was very hard for me. It's very hard in general for the youth to speak up, because in Samoa we have a very children are to be seen but not to be heard mentality. People say it's respect, but at the same time, when these certain subjects like menstrual hygiene is brought up, it's very hard for us to open up. So we did, as my boss said, we did a project on Wednesday, and it was so amazing how we went to these communities, we talked to these girls, and we told them that it was okay, to confide in us about menstrual hygiene, because it's very important. Every girl goes through it, and it's for the better generation. So.
What they call for Brown Girl Woke, it's a placing for us to make them come out of the closet, having this workshop, we've seen many girls are struggling, a lot of them, they don't even know, they're not safe, they're not feeling safe with the periods. So what we did is we gave them examples, we talked to them, we actually explained to them where is safest place for them, who to talk to. So it is very important for them to know when they have their periods and what to use. So like what Doris says, Afa Alo was sending over some reusable pads. So what we're doing right now, so we're teaching it to them. So in our workshop, not only we tell them the importance of everything, but we're teaching them to make it. And it's very important, it's reusable. So it doesn't cost a lot of money, and it's safe for them, it will help them during this time, during this hard time, the COVID shutdown. So yeah, it is what I say, it's a very placing for us at Brown Girl Woke to reach out to these people, to come out, to voice themselves out, yeah.
Are you using Menstrual Hygiene Day this year for any activities to promote? And can you let us know what you're doing?
Yeah, we are actually, because we went to the workshop and we realized a lot of the young girls were saying that their most awkward moments or when they're shy is because of boys. So we're gonna do a menstrual cycle day on and boys and having these conversations.
Most girls, they always mention the boys are teasing them, they don't want them to know what's going on. They make fun of them of their period. So what Darcy says, we're gonna bring the boys, we're gonna talk some ways that will help them to make them feel comfortable between a boy and a girl. Those two, not only, I know period is for girls, but boys should understand the situation as well. We should know what's going on with the girls,
You touch a really important point, and I think this point we will hear the entire MH Day, that MH Day is about awareness, and it's not only about women and girls and their issues and how they talk to each other, like mothers and daughters, but also about bringing in men and boys as supporters and as allies, and they need to be educated and they need to be aware, and they're the other half of the society. So yeah, I think it's really an important activity that you're doing and you're planning to. I don't want to hold you up from that workshop anymore. My last question is, what is your message to the global community listening in today? from Samoa?
Your message that you did on the video.
Yeah.
To stay woke, brown girl woke. The message.
The video that you made.
On
the video.
Oh
yeah.
sorry. It is very important to teach the importance of hygiene, menstrual hygiene, for the securement of a better future for the future generation.
I think that's our.
Yeah.
We'll go with me too. Our message.
Excellent.
Stay woke.
And stay woke. Okay, Team Brown Girl Woke. Wish you a good day. Thank you for the interview. We all try to stay woke today.
Thank you, Doris, Mika, and Temple. And it's really setting the scene for us that organizations, even as far as Samoa, are working on the issue to create awareness on menstrual health and hygiene. I wanted to now turn to Torsten. Torsten, talk to us about Menstrual Hygiene Day. Why does it exist, and what is happening today on Studio MH Day?
Thanks, Ina. I think it was a little more than 7 years ago when actually you and I had this meeting that I warmly remember, where we came up with this idea of creating a global day of action to break the silence and catalyze progress on menstruation. And back then it felt like a slightly crazy idea, and maybe, you know, perhaps it was. But when we shared the idea and we talked to organizations, people thought that's actually like not such a crazy idea. It's actually a good idea. Maybe that's what we need to do. And more organizations joined in. Fast forward 7 years, and today we are a partnership of close to 600 organizations united by one single goal: to end period poverty and period stigma, to create a world where no woman and no girl is limited because of her period. We are a movement for change. Studio MH Day is not about an elaborate show or polished speeches. It's about bringing us, the MH Day movement, together than COVID-19 is forcing us apart. It's about genuine exchange and conversations. It's about enabling us to share and learn from each other. And it's about strengthening our joint resolve to create a world where no one is limited from achieving their full potential and realizing their dreams just because they menstruate. Our generation is privileged because we are the first generation that really has the chance to make period poverty and period stigma history. I firmly believe that we can do that by 2030. It's up to all of us now, NGOs, governments, corporates, individuals, multilaterals, everyone who is joining us today to make it happen. My dream is that 10 years from now, we meet here again, and there is nothing much to talk about, because together we put period stigma and period poverty where it belongs, in the history books. We hope that today will strengthen our courage and resolve to actually make it happen. This year, we introduced the Menstruation Bracelet as a global symbol for menstruation and for MH Day. Just like the red ribbon for HIV/AIDS and the rainbow flag for LGBTQ rights, we hope that the symbol of the bracelet will help all of us to reach beyond the converted, beyond our sector, and carry our message into the mainstream of society. Because that is what we need. In order to end period stigma and period poverty, we need to think how every one of us thinks, feels, and acts about menstruation. We'll hear a bit more about the bracelet from Yul in a minute. What we're doing here today with Studio MH Day is a first for each and every one of us at WASH United.
Yeah. Yes.
Ina, have you ever moderated a TV show?
Not a TV show, no.
Neither have I. This is basically a big live experiment with you guys watching on our website. And if there's one thing that I can really promise you for sure today, there's going to be exciting conversations, but there's also going to be glitches. So if that happens, bear with us and have in mind this is about community, not perfection. So talking about community again.
Speaking of community.
Speaking of community. Yeah, Jule, can you share some of the examples of how people have already engaged with the campaign so far and been using the bracelet?
Yeah, let's talk about the bracelet because so what we've seen so far is that you guys are pretty excited and you are pretty creative and you are prepared. And if we could show my monitor right now, then I would like to show you some of the highlights so far of you guys making bracelets. So this was the GIF we made for you to make a short introduction of the bracelet and how to use it, because the beauty of it is that everyone can build a bracelet by themselves. So the most important thing is to set a sign and to add your voice to the whole campaign by making your own bracelet. And here you can see the many different versions of the bracelet that we got so far. So there are pretty nice ideas. There are even someone made one, and we also tried that with toothpaste and lipstick. So if you even if you can't get beads right now, you can use toothpaste and lipstick. And I mean, it's so empowering to see how everyone gets so creative and everyone is so enjoying this whole process and wants to set a sign. And I mean, you can also see that people use the bracelet not only to set a sign for themselves, but to start a conversation. Yeah. So it has a huge power. And yeah, I can go through this. You cannot see this right now, but I can tell you there are many. There are over, I don't know, 30 or so. Here someone made a uterus out of bracelets. So they put some bracelets in form of a uterus. It's so cool to see what ideas you have. So I'll go through it a bit quicker. Because we also will see some more examples of this today. But I don't know how much time we got, but I still have. Is it okay? Yeah. Okay. So there are some more examples. This one is from WaGs. I know that one. It was a great campaign. Yeah. And this one is a good example. I'll stop here. This one is a good. I don't stop here. A good example because we also provided a template. So you could cut out. You could print out and cut out our template. Color five beads in red, and then you could use it. Also to set a sign, which worked pretty well. So this one is from WaGs, and what do we get here? Another one from WaGs. I mean, it's so cool to see how everyone enjoys this whole thing. It's so good to see. I'm so looking forward to everything that's gonna come today. This one is a really nice example from Bhutan, I guess. We're gonna see a lot more from Bhutan today. I'm pretty active. Okay, so this little guy, I liked him so much. Okay, but you're gonna see a lot more about it today, and I'm giving back to Thorsten.
I really like so much to see like how everybody's so creative.
Yeah.
And I think there was this one picture of some super creative person from Nepal making a bracelet out of red and green chilies, which
and carrots,
just completely blew my mind. So now thanks for the update, Jule. And back over to you, Ina, to introduce our next guest, please.
Yeah, thank you. Because what you talked about, what our joint goal is to make period poverty and period stigma history. We really can't leave no one behind. We really have to look at vulnerable population, and therefore I'm glad that we have really early on in the show Naomi Navoch. She's working with the Pacific Disability Forum as a program officer, and she's a fierce advocate on the inclusion of people with disability. And I'm really glad to talk to her. I met her last year in Stockholm at the World Water Forum, and we will hear from her in a pre-recorded video as well, why it's important to include people with disabilities into our actions that we want to achieve. Yeah, so to you, Naomi.
I'm happy to talk to her this morning or late evening in Fiji. A happy MH Day to you, Naomi.
Happy Chap Day, Ina.
Great. My question to you, and I know we only have short time, and it's a big question, is can you tell us why reaching women and girls with disabilities is so important, and what are the efforts that you're specifically doing to do so?
Thank you. As we know that women and girls with disabilities face many challenges in accessing sufficient support and especially around health services. Therefore, it is important for us to engage or include women with disabilities and their respective organizations in the work that we do around HMHM. The reason being because this is the opportunity where they can maintain their hygiene, where they are able to also exchange or access materials as well as to maintain their personal hygiene and washing, because these are very challenging for women with disabilities, especially for those with physical disabilities. Now, the reason being why it's important to reach out to women with disabilities in their menstrual health and hygiene is because it would be able to enable women with disabilities to reach their full potential and their management on around menstruation hygienically. It also allows women with disabilities to be able to access the menstrual product in a safe and a dignity manner, especially in hygienic facilities, which of course enable them as well as essential to everyone who menstruates. I I believe that if we are passionate about the work on HMHM, we need to recognize the basic right to menstruate without and stigma for that experienced by women and girls with disabilities.
Absolutely agreed. Thank you for those powerful words. We will take that on for the whole day. That it's actually for all and for everyone. Um, what are you doing as the Pacific Disability Forum, or you specifically, to really create awareness and advocacy on the issue?
Thank you, Ina. At the moment, from the work that we are currently doing, we'll start off with Fiji. We've been engaging with UNICEF for from 28th of May when we first celebrated HMHM Day in 2019. We've also continued to engage with our disability organization, particularly women with disabilities in Fiji, which our organization is a cross-disability organization, which includes four different cross-disability organizations, which are the Spinal Injury Associations, the Paralympic Association, the United Blind Persons of Fiji, the Fiji Association for the Deaf, and Counterstroke Fiji. And these are members of the Fiji Disabled People Federation. The work has been ongoing. However, we were able to put together and submit a budget forward to help us in the work with the activities that was then submitted to UNICEF. We also part of the work that we've been doing in Fiji is in 2019 through the Hibiscus Festival, which is an annual event every year where women with disabilities and their organization create awareness around menstruation on women and girls with disabilities, such as in terms of side events and other performance, which are they able to portray or show to as their form of creating awareness. We also did also work at the regional level around this in terms of preparing us for the menstrual hygiene for this year. So at the same time, we're working with the other organizations to help us to form through the Pacific Menstrual Health Network, which we are part of the campaign for that too. That's been part of the work that we've been doing since 2019, and of course with UNICEF as well as WaterAid coming on board towards the end of last year. That was from the outcome of the World Water Week conference in Stockholm, Sweden. Thank you.
Fantastic. We would definitely look out for what you're doing, because that was a lot of information. We also have your presentation to download from our website. So if you watchers want to know more what Naomi and the Pacific Disability Forum is doing, you can look there. So last but not least, Naomi, what is your message to the global movement watching today?
We also need to realize that it's important for us to know that the importance of disability inclusive around menstrual management. Through this, we will be able to help us work towards addressing the gaps in the work that we do around HMH globally. And finally, I believe we need to allocate budget. We need to be inclusive there for any budget allocation for HMH program and activities in ensuring that it's in the disability inclusive. And finally, we need to collaborate with the women with disability themselves in their respective organizations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Naomi. I wish you a good rest of the day. I know you're also busy with other webinars. Thank you so much. And we will be in touch and follow the work that you're doing as an advocate very closely. Thank you.
Thank you, Ina.
I'm happy to talk to her this morning or late evening in Fiji.
Thank you. Thank you, Naomi, for your powerful words. And it's really important that we think about the inclusion and really working with people with disabilities. And we can also think about addressing the needs of women and girls in marginalized communities, transgender women and men, and also looking at women and girls living in emergency. And we talk about this later with Afghanistan. But first, I want to introduce my next guest. Joining live from Australia, it's Chelsea Huggett. She's the technical lead for equality and inclusion of WaterAid Australia, and she's working very closely with Naomi too. And we're talking about the work of the coalition in the Pacific Coalition. Welcome, Naomi.
Hi, Ina. Great to talk to you. Happy Menstrual Hygiene Day.
Yeah.
Oh, 1 second.
Happy Menstrual Hygiene Day to you too.
Happy Menstrual Hygiene Day.
You don't have.
Sorry.
Wait a second.
Oh yeah.
1 second.
One
You
second.
lost your-
My microphone is gone. Okay. First glitch of today. Now I can hear you loud and clear. Okay. Welcome, Chelsea.
Thank you. Happy Menstrual Hygiene Day. Great to connect with you.
Absolutely. And thank you also for facilitating the talk with Naomi. As I mentioned, there's a lot of activities going on in the Pacific that you help to coordinate. So maybe you can tell us what are progress and activities in the Pacific Fiji region to reach women and girls with menstrual health and hygiene.
Yeah, great. So today it's evening here. We're at the end of our Menstrual Hygiene Day. We've had a really action-packed day involving lots of different actors from across the Pacific. For those who know, the Pacific is a very remote part of the world, lots of tiny island countries, and very low access to water, sanitation, and hygiene. There's a really strong rights movement happening around menstrual health. We're seeing gender groups, disability groups, sexual and reproductive health actors all starting to rally together to really support this issue. There's some progress around government policy change, but there's still a long way to go. And part of the work we're doing is to really try and raise awareness and bring that Pacific voice into global forums such as this one.
Thank you. Yeah, and you also shared with us some really nice activities and campaign images that you developed now for Menstrual Hygiene Day. Can you tell us a little bit how are you celebrating, or how did you celebrate Menstrual Hygiene Day today?
Yeah, we've had so much fun today. It's been a really active day, all online, given that everybody mostly is working from home. So we started off the day with a webinar that the focus was on galvanizing action towards menstrual health in the Pacific. And we had speakers calling in from the Solomon Islands, from Fiji, from Timor-Leste and Papua New Guinea. And they were sanitary pad producers through to NGOs who were working at the front line. And Naomi, who you just heard from, she presented as well. And I think my two key takeaways from that fantastic discussion was one, telling the Pacific story. So really recognizing that Pacific women and girls have a story to tell, and they want to be at the center of their own menstrual health rights movement. And then the second one was a really strong call to action, really strong around governments really coming together to support this cause. And then last but not least, we did an online media campaign. So that was all led by Pacific groups who developed and rolled out some really fantastic, fun and playful infographics with a really serious message behind it, saying it's time for action. period talk, straight talk. That's what the teams called it.
And it seems really like a packed day. Thank you, Naomi. This is a very short conversation because we had Naomi before, but we're happy to share the webinar results later on the website so people can re-listen in to your webinar and to the presentation. I thank you so much. And
thank you.
And then have a good rest of the evening.
Thank you so much. Enjoy your day. Good luck for the live broadcast.
Thanks
for having watched.
Wow.
Absolutely. Goodbye, Chelsea.
Bye.
Yeah, it's really impressive, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I think these are great to have this early on in the show to see what already happened. And because we're already in Australia, it's the end. And I think Jule can share some of the highlights and also really tell us how you can still join the campaign.
Yeah, sure, because here in Berlin, MHD is just starting. But first of all, can we show my screen? Okay, so first of all, I can show you some of the illustrations Chelsea mentioned, because I think they're really worth a little sneak peek or peek. So those are the materials that Chelsea gave us. And then, as Ina said, I want to show you some of the illustrations that 4 really great, brilliant female artists made for this year's campaign. Because you can download them on our website. And that doesn't work, Thorsten. I can hear you. And that's so you can download the illustrations on our website, and you can share them. You can download them in different sizes for Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And there are different topics in different groups of pictures with different topics. So there is the period stigma. We have action about education about menstruation for all women. We have the menstruation bracelet, and we have the access to menstrual products. So I want to give you a little look on the really, really great and powerful illustrations. As I said, you can download them on our website, menstrualhygieneday.org. And yeah, please share them if you want to, and also tag us and use our hashtags. And if you want to, you can also tag the artists who are, each of them is so brilliant. I'm so happy that they work with us for this year's campaign. So their handles are always in the picture. Here, for example, you can see Laura Breiling's handle on the top left side of the picture. So if you want to do that, that brings some more attention to them too, and that would be a good thing. And something else, if you didn't have the chance to make your own bracelet, and if you don't have any toothpaste and lipstick at home, then you always have the option to use our GIF that we created that makes it pretty easy for you to put on a bracelet digitally on your Instagram story. And I'm going to show you how it works. This is the end, okay? So have a little look. So on your Instagram account, tap on your profile. Okay, I think it's self-explaining. So you take a picture. You go on the GIF option in your story. You type in MHD. And then you see the GIFs that we're providing. And look how this works. Wow! Now you're wearing your bracelet, and you can share it, and you can be part of the campaign, even if you don't build your bracelet yet. But you should do it for next year, I guess. But yeah. Okay, so I want to see that from you. Back to Ina.
Thanks, Jule. Yeah, it's so easy, and
it's really easy.
Shouldn't stop you from using the bracelet in one way or the other. My next guests are from the Menstrual Health Alliance India. I have with us Tanya Dagan Mahan, who is team lead for development solutions. And with us, just joining us, is Arundhati Muralidharan. She's manager policy for WaterAid India. Both are chairing the Menstrual Health Alliance India, and I'm happy to welcome you. You also had a really busy day. And it's really great to talk to you because we cooperated so many times on different activities like the webinar we did recently. But today we really want to talk about the collective action that you and your partners did for the coalition. Yeah, welcome Arundhati, and I hope Tanya will be back soon.
Ina, thanks. Thank you so much for having us. And the studio looks great. Invited to join you today. I'm not sure if Tanya's back.
Yes, she's just back.
She's been able to. Oh, great. Great. So, Ina, do you want us to just quickly tell everyone about ourselves?
Yes, you're welcome.
Great. So, thanks, Ina, and thanks to MHD, all for having us here today. So Menstrual Health Alliance India is a collective of organizations working in India on various aspects of menstrual health and hygiene. So this includes practitioners who are doing actually on the ground interventions, manufacturers of various types of products, disposable pads, menstrual cups, cloth pads, researchers, civil society organizations, development partners who support government. So it's a large collaborative. And we actually came together a few years ago in 2017 with the idea of being a platform where people could come together, share what they're doing, learn from each other, and begin to collaborate with each other. We also wanted to serve as a common platform for India where we could collate evidence or generate evidence specific to India that could inform policies and programs. Lastly, and very importantly, the collaborative was actually started with the vision for joint advocacy. Various organizations, including WaterAid, we were doing our individual advocacy with government at a national or a state level. But when we came together and made a collective ask to government, we found that that was far more powerful and far more impactful. So we believe in this power of joint action, and that's what we hope that we stand for and going to stand for as we move forward. So yes, Ina, you have any more questions for us?
Yes, I wanted to ask Tanya, I mean, I think, yes, you had a real good strategy on bringing people together. Maybe Tanya, you can share some of the achievements you achieved together.
Sure. So in recent years, there's been an increased attention by the national and state governments in India on menstrual health, but it's been focused on sanitary pads and access to sanitary pads, which is a great starting point. But we've also, through our work, been able to shift this focus slightly towards more narratives on informed choice and access to a wider basket of products, including menstrual cups and hygienic use of cloth pads. And one of the ways in which this has happened is through increased advocacy for standards for these products. And we've recently, in fact, in January, the standards for disposable products were updated, and they are much more fitting to the quality requirements of products in the market right now. We have reusables and menstrual cup standards in the works. Additionally, MHM has also come into the emergency and humanitarian aid context, and we've also managed to bring a lot of sector actors together from across different portfolios, including sexual reproductive health, WASH, the humanitarian aid work, and specifically organizations working on MHM as well. So it's been a lot of collaboration, and that collaboration has led to a lot of advocacy on the narrative on informed choice.
And because of the power of collaboration, and you prepared some testimonials from your partners that shared why there's a power in doing this together. So can you please play the videos that were prepared? Thank you.
I'm Kathy from EcoFem. I've had the chance to work with the Menstrual Health Alliance India on various initiatives. Have enjoyed very much their facilitation of the comprehensive way in which they've involved many stakeholders in working on the question of reusable standards, which is a sort of national policy level initiative. Also, their work around bringing together the main issues affecting menstruation in India and creating a kind of common platform and language and understanding around what those issues are and representing them at a national level. And I think just helping to bring more visibility to the whole sector, that we start to see more clearly who the other players are, what they're doing, how we can work more together effectively. And I think it's really as a result of having a central body taking on that role that's made many things possible that were not before.
Hi, I'm Jaideep from Akar Innovations. We have been working with MHAI since its beginning. We have worked on various fronts, especially with the BIS standard, where we introduced the compostability standard with our testings, and MHAI have helped us in various ways in that. Post that also on various forums and in webinars, we have been promoting about compostability, about sustainable menstrual solutions. So their work has been really good in terms of working on the data, on evidence-based things, and also on things which are on real facts.
Living God and Safkins are extremely happy being part of MHAI. It is through this partnership that we were able to unite and really advocate for consumer health and hygiene and establish standards for reusable sanitary napkins that can be now used across India to help promote better health, menstrual wellness and hygiene.
Secondly, the Alliance has created an opportunity to showcase each of our work in every event that the Alliance organizes. These showcases have made the possibility of collaboration much more easier for the different stakeholders in the ecosystem, be it our partnership with Wash United for the curriculum or partnership with UNICEF in Madhya Pradesh. These collaborations wouldn't have happened if not for we being part of the Menstrual Hygiene Alliance of India. And thirdly,
thank you all for sharing your messages. They're well heard, and it is really a testimonial also to the great work Tanya and Arundhati are doing to coordinate the coalition. Yeah. My last question to you, because it's already almost it's late afternoon in India. How do you and members of the Menstrual Health Alliance India have celebrated MH Day so far to increase awareness and advocacy?
So it's actually been a very active year, despite the fact that there's not a lot of community outreach happening offline. There are so many events happening online where people are engaging with their communities through Facebook Live events, through Twitter chats. There was a global Twitter chat yesterday hosted by ICRW and partners. There are a host of webinars organized by organizations, not just for other organizations, but for their own field level representatives and volunteers for capacity building, for sharing narratives on how to deal with menstrual health in the times of COVID, especially because that's been a pretty challenging issue. So there's a lot of dialogue happening online, and we'll be happy to share a lot of that after today's.
Yeah, I'd also just like to quickly share that we're also seeing some action at the state level where states have slightly kind of picking up on some of the messaging. State governments rather are slowly picking up on the messaging that we've been wanting to put out there, especially in relation to the COVID pandemic. So it's very encouraging that some states, large states like Madhya Pradesh and India, are talking about the importance of safe and correct use and maintenance of cloth pads, which they had never done before. So this is a huge achievement for us, given that we've been talking about this issue. So a little more traction for the whole concept of informed product choice. So yes, well done.
Yeah,
yeah, thank you. Maybe there are some good things coming out of the crisis. I want to thank you very much. We will definitely share some of the information of the webinars and the Twitter chat later on our website. And thank you for joining, Arundhati and Tanya. Keep up the great work, and we will be in touch soon. And goodbye to India.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Christina, happy MH Day to everyone.
Happy MH Day.
To you too.
Yeah, I think it's just amazing to see how much is happening in the region. And what these three contributions already have highlighted to me very strongly is the importance of collective action, of bundling our voices, and the power of speaking together, singing as a choir, versus everybody going on by themselves. I think Arundhati made it very clear that how bringing partners together and joining forces enables you engage governments and to drive change there. And the other thing, really important lesson that we have there is like putting people at the center, enabling people to find their own solution, tell their own narrative. And I think it's very interesting because I think like a lot of those lessons are also like when we work on MHD and think like how can we improve MHD for our partners, that we always have in mind to make it really flexible, adaptable, and the whole idea of us using this platform of MHD to bundle our voices and to really kind of like have one campaign where we sing as a choir at the global level, to create a big buzz for the issue is then also manifests itself at the national level. It's really great to see. It's very inspiring.
Yeah. And we have other national coalitions who also do similar work. But so sorry. One of the, as you said, it's about voices, and one of the voices really important for India is an organization called Youth Kiawaaz. Youth Kiawaaz is a platform to bundle and facilitate discussions, and they've been really engaged on the issue of menstrual health and hygiene. And we talked with Kiawaaz Sachdeva, who was supposed to, there she's coming. Yes, right in time. Hi, Kiawaaz. A happy MH Day to you.
Happy MH Day to you as well.
Wonderful. I was just trying to describe Youth Kiawaaz, but I think you can do it better in one sentence. Who is Youth Kiawaaz?
All right. Youth Kiawaaz basically translates into English as Voice of the Young People, and we are India's largest crowdsourced media platform for young people to talk about social justice issues that matter to them.
Great. And because menstruation matters to you and your constituency, you have done a survey, I heard, with 10,000 youth across India in the last 3 months. And you have released the report also today. Can you share some of the key findings with a focus maybe on awareness and policy?
Sure. So as a part of our ongoing partnership with the Water Supply and Sanitation Collaborative Council, we hosted a 3-month-long online survey to basically understand perceptions on menstrual health and hygiene among young people in India, and we received around 11,161 complete responses. And the survey was basically open to people from all genders to make it truly inclusive and representative, and not just limited to menstruators only. And our survey questionnaire was primarily divided into the sub-themes covering awareness, product choice usage, work productivity, menstrual health, custom traditions and taboos, and policy opinions. To share some bit of the key findings that emerged from this survey, we found out that the family environment is the primary source of information and knowledge about menstruation. And the earliest information actually comes from the mother. That was ranked by 43.36% people, followed by friends at some 29.9%, and then school and educational institutions at 26%. And it was also interesting to see that men have basically received information on menstrual hygiene more than women from the internet and social media. So it's more of a self-learning mechanism rather than them being actively educated or informed about the entire process. We also found out that majority of the menstruating respondents, that was around 80%, felt one or the other negative emotion when they first experienced their periods. And those were emotions which are basically related to fear, anxiety, and anger that ranked as the highest. While mapping on health issues, we found that at least 90.2% of the respondents suffered from irregular periods or itching or different hygiene-related health issues, which they did or they may or may not have addressed for different reasons of saying that it's a normal part of getting your period, so you may or may not need like a medical intervention for it. And we also found out that when we were mapping cultural practices, 90.1% respondents felt that certain practices need to definitely be avoided during the process, and these practices ranged from praying to sexual activities, to bathing, to interacting with the opposite sex, a range of it. And the details detailed report basically highlights all of this with respect to age and gender as well. We also found out when we were mapping on work productivity and how menstruation as a process affects employment, we found that 41% believe that there should be a provision of menstruation leave as it tends to affect productivity. And 43% also believe that menstrual leave with an option for working from home should be provided. The probability of an older person wanting menstrual leave was as low as 49% in comparison to a younger person, while the probability of full-time employees wanting a menstrual leave was as high as 59% in comparison to other people in this study. Another last observation that I would like to share will be that only 10% thought that people who identify as trans and non-binary, their needs are addressed. 11% thought that that was not the case. Around 47% thought that it's only a woman's issue. And 31% of the respondents did not know that people who identify as trans and non-binary also menstruate. So these are some of the findings that emerged. There is a whole lot of detailed data mapping and perception mapping also that we have done, which everyone can check out in that link.
Yes, exactly. But thanks. I think there's such a power in the data that you unearthed and seeing some trends. But not only having the data, so what are you doing now with the information that you collated?
Yes, so our idea with the study now is to take it forward to more people, make it more consumable and shareable so that more young people can understand it, and also take it to more organizations who are leading their work on these different sub-themes that we have mapped, make it more actionable for them that helps them further their advocacy efforts. And we are hopefully one step more closer towards improving access to information and health and hygiene for people across the world. So that is our top line.
Yeah, and we just talked to the Menstrual Health Alliance India, and I think they're one of the partners that will help you to turn the data into policy advocacy and action on the ground. My last question to you, or more of an ask, is what is your message to the global movement watching today?
All right, so my message to the global community watching today is basically reinforcing the theme for this year, that is that it's time for action. And menstrual health and hygiene is more than just a social or a gender issue. It is something that requires political will and policy interventions that we must demand from our leaders, our states, and our countries.
Thank you, Kiawaaz, for sharing this very, very powerful statement. And yeah, let's all join hands to say it's time for action. Oh, very pretty. Thank you for sharing. And yeah, it's wonderful. Yeah, see, as you said, it can be as simple as paint. Thank you for sharing. Please read all the report that come out, and we will follow and support you in the future. Thank you, Kiawaaz, and have a good rest of the day.
Thank you, Ina. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Powerful, right? I mean, like very, very interesting learnings. It's great to get youth activists involved because I mean, like if we can change this issue among the next generation, among young people, the issue will be solved the fastest, right? So, and I think like in India, especially what we've seen over the last years, that young people really are agents of change using new technologies, social media. We've seen on MH Day the taboo issue of menstruation trending on social media, and that shows us really that among young people perceptions and attitudes are really changing. So it's very, very inspiring to have Youth Kiawaaz's voice here in the session.
And talking about trending on social media,
wow,
that's handing over to Yule to maybe share some of the trending topics and that are out there.
Yeah. First of all, I would like to share a story that I didn't have out of social media, but from our social monitoring tool, Meltwater. Can we show my screen? Okay, thanks. So there's a city in Canada, Edmonton, and is a Menstrual Hygiene Day a holiday in Canada? I heard something like
No.
that. Either way, it doesn't matter because in Edmonton there's a pretty a huge bridge, and this bridge there are about 60,000 light bulbs on this bridge, and the city decides how this bridge is lit during, I think it's during May. So each day in May there's a special occasion, and there are special colors. The bridge is lit in different colors at night. And so guess what? Today, on Menstrual Hygiene Day, or tonight, this bridge will be lit red. And yeah, by honoring Menstrual Hygiene Day, which is really nice, I guess. Nice. So here you can see this bridge in a little picture, and then just a random package of insights right now. So here we have a tweet from Erika Lust. I don't know. Do you know Erika Lust?
No.
Yeah.
Ina and Thorsten. So she's a producer of let's say adult films, but in a really it's, can we say porn? I don't know, but it's porn in a pretty good way.
She's a very famous female director.
She's a great
porn,
female director of adult films, and and she also tweeted about Menstrual Hygiene Day, about an cooperation she did with Rumi Cup today. And then we have Kathleen Clark, who wants to run, in honor of Menstrual Hygiene Day, who wants to run 100 kilometers in 7 days in order to raise money for an organization that's engaging against period stigma. 100 kilometers in 7 days.
Well, we wish you all the best for that.
Yeah,
definitely.
we do, Kathleen.
Yes, go
girl, go girl. Cool, pretty cool. And then we have a pretty nice cover of Outlook magazine from India. Oh, you can see it right now. But it's a pretty nice illustration. The headline is "I bleed for love." It's a woman in a red dress. There's a lot of media coverage in India right now, which is pretty nice. And then I have another nice picture, I think, from My Cup, New Zealand, I guess. They made this picture, posted this picture on Instagram. And and we also, Thorsten, yesterday you were at the German Reichstag with some politicians, and we also have we already have some posts from Elizabeth Kaiser. And from Frank Schwabe. I guess there are some more. I just screened right now the latest post. Yeah, but also German politicians are taking action, standing there saying it's time for action. Pretty nice. I guess there will be a lot more, but for now, that's what I got so far for you. And I'm screening right now. I'm screening all channels, and I'm bringing some more stuff next time.
Yeah. Great.
So back to Thorsten and Ina.
I don't think I will be able to run 100 kilometers after today.
After this day, no.
After this day, no. But it shows really, I think what Julia said, for me, it's really amazing when we look through the events, which you can also find on the website, is how creative our partners got, especially during this time, to do remote events or do events on their own, mobilizing through social media and so on, as we can't get really physically together. And in the last year, it was really, of course, for us seeing how physical meetings, awareness and trainings happened when it's and now that shifted all online. It's really inspiring.
But it works pretty well.
Yeah, and thanks Yulu for sharing some of the creativity to move online.
It was super exciting. Also super exciting, Jule, to hear that you already found some pictures from members of parliament here in Germany. We went with the team to the German parliament yesterday and had a photo shoot with parliamentarians. And it was amazing to see that 35 members of the German parliament across basically all democratic parties showed up and stood up for menstrual hygiene, and set a sign to help tackle period stigma and period poverty. It again kind of like shows us like what the power of a symbol like the bracelet is to get people engaged. Yeah, our next guest I'm really excited to announce is Sonakhi Rumi. Sonakhi Rumi is a young activist and Girl Guide leader from India. She's not in the line yet. Okay.
We have a video as a backup, but let's wait. So we met Sonakhi last year
Yeah.
at Women Deliver, right?
Yeah,
And she was really impressive because you found her out about her campaign. Right, last year.
Last year she organized a social media campaign called the Reboot Campaign, where she engaged young people around India to stand up for menstrual health and hygiene online, and the campaign was super impressive. Then we met at Women Deliver, and Sonakhi is amazingly passionate and a really, really driven young activist. So we'll give her a bit more time to see if she's coming online, or maybe in the meantime we have another check-in with Yule to get some more information about what's happening on the digital campaigning side of things.
Sure, we can. Let's just go. Maybe we can just go through the hashtag. So it's time for action is our main hashtag, of course, also MH Day 2020. And I love to see that more of you are using the illustrations. We thought that you would spare them for today, and maybe you picked your favorite illustration during the last days, and now you're saying, yeah, no, today I'm going to post it, and maybe also all of them. So as you can see, are we on my screen? Okay, thanks. So as you can see, there's always here there's an illustration, here's the illustration. And we also have, I'm really happy to see that we also have many more bracelet versions. We also have, of course, we have many self-made illustrations which are really cool. And by the way, of course, I mean, I am one person. Today is really exciting for all of us, and I won't be able to show everything, all the great stuff that you made today. So it would be really great if you could send us the material or your posts maybe next week, and then we can continue to show. Then we can continue to show what you did. So we won't be able to show everything today, but we love everything you did. So here are some more of the illustrations. And how are we right now? Okay, and so I'm getting back to Ina. Great.
Luckily, I mean, Sonakhi is unable to join, but luckily we did a pre-recording with her during the week, and I really want to play the video because it's a really testament of a young advocate. So yeah, please show the video. This was then an interview with myself and not with Torsten, who was looking really forward to talk to her.
No.
Good. Okay, so my next interviewee is Sonakhi Rumi. She's an activist and also a girl guide from India, who we met last year at Women Deliver. But we actually found out about her amazing campaign for MH Day last year, which we're going to talk about. So welcome, Sonakhi.
Thank you so much, Ina.
Sonakhi, so why are you so passionate about menstrual health and hygiene?
I think menstrual health and hygiene is something that is really important for every girl, but somehow we aren't able to talk about it, we aren't able to discuss about it because of the taboos related to it. And somehow I have seen the taboos around me and I have experienced all that. So I really want that other girls should not experience it. So that's why I'm passionate about it.
Great. And because you were so passionate, you started a campaign. Can you let us know what you did last year and what also the amazing success was from the campaign that you got?
Yeah, sure. So what we started, it was Reboot of Thoughts on Menstruation, the project's name. And actually, as a student, it's not easy to go everywhere and reach out a lot of people. So we started a social media campaign by taking interviews from people, and I reached out many people of different age groups, of different stratas of the society, and we got a really positive response. I thought we won't be getting so much of response and people are really hesitant to talk about it, but I think people are ready for change, but they want someone to voice it. They want someone to start it, and they fear that how to start, and if somebody starts it, they are ready to accept it, and that's why we got a really good response. We took 100 interviews, and after that we had a break the silence challenge, for which we got a lot of like entries from all around the world. Our scouting friends and our guiding friends, they sent us videos, and it was really amazing.
And when you want to share some of the moment where you thought, oh, this is now a really big moment, maybe you had that in your campaign.
Okay, so I think big moments would be taking interviews from some really specific people. Like I went to a family. It had a mother and like a father and two sons, and I think that moment was really special because in India, in families generally they don't teach about menstruation to sons and young boys. So that family, they taught about menstruation to their young boys, so that during menopause, that lady was facing a lot of problems, so that the boys can help their mother during menopause and can emotionally support it. So that was a really special interview that I had. Apart from that, some special moments were going to Vancouver, obviously, and the reason I went to Vancouver was obviously because of this project. Because of this project, I got selected. Meeting you, meeting Mr. Thorsten there, MHD people, meeting the United Nations Envoy on Youth, and talking about menstruation and the issues there, and getting to learn so much about it, and coming back and influencing people here. That is something that I really think is a really positive thing that happened.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great platform. And what are your plans now? Because you did this last year. Have you continued with the campaign? What are your plans for MH Day this year?
So this year, as we know, we all are in a pandemic, and we all know that periods don't stop for pandemics. So we are actually planning a virtual program with the Reboot Messengers, as in the Reboot team that we have. And apart from that, for the upcoming year, we want to create, our objective is to create a period-friendly environment, because when we say period-friendly environment, it is really something that lacks in India, and it is really needed, especially in schools and colleges, so that girls aren't uncomfortable to go, because 23% of girls drop out from schools just because of menstruation in India. So I hope we take that forward, and in the upcoming time, girls don't skip their schools or are comfortable to go to schools, so that period-friendly environment is provided. Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. And what do you what do you need to do this? Where you need to look for support, or where you look for support?
We want the support from schools and colleges and the institutions, because that is the place where people actually, when we give information from the childhood, when we give information from the time of puberty itself about menstruation, if we give them correct knowledge, then I think that would go up to create a really positive menstrual friendly environment. So that's why we are approaching schools and colleges, and we have already done few sessions in some schools and colleges, and they have been very supportive. So I think that is something we are looking forward after the pandemic, to reach out to schools and colleges and do something regarding that.
Yeah, we will have in this afternoon also a talk to the Yes Girls team. That's also the Girl Scout movement from Africa, where they also did similar peer-to-peer education in, I think, more than 12 countries in Africa. Yeah. So what you do there and what's happening in Africa is definitely making an impact. So do you have a question to us?
I want to know, like, how to use the Menstrual Hygiene Day platform, and how to influence more people when we talk about periods, and sometimes people get really uncomfortable. We have learned with time, like, how to talk to them, how to deal to them, like how to take forward with different activities of Menstrual Hygiene Day and all. How do it works out there? How do you people manage it, so that we can learn from that?
Okay. Yes. well, it's all about partners, but we have so many partners that I'm sure are willing to share their successes and their strategies. And I think this is a good idea to take this forward, to help advocates like you, but also around the world to use the platform. Yeah. And my last question is always, what's your message to the global community watching today, watching Studio MH Day?
Okay, so my message would obviously be regarding menstruation. So menstruation is something that we all know is biologically very normal, and that happens to every girl. So I just hope that everyone supports the female subordinates of the society during the menstruation, because it's like you can give them the support that they want, and that's not actually, it's not about empowering women, it's about supporting them, because they are already empowered. I think they have the power to go on, so it's just give them the right support, and so that no girl in the school cries in the last bench because of menstruation, so that no girl skips her school because of menstruation, because this is something that should be treated as a blessing, that she has the power to give birth. So please accept this and don't take it as a taboo.
Thank you, Sonakhi, for your great words, and have a good rest of MH Day.
Thank you so much.
Oh.
And we're back live here. Thank you for showing the video, and I hope you still enjoyed it, even if it wasn't live. I really enjoyed talking to Sonakhi. I really wanted to also highlight another tool and product that we produced for this year's MH Day. And this is our infographic, which is called Periods Don't Stop for Pandemics. You find it on our website, and Yule also has it on its screens. We really thought this is the global issue, not only we as program and experts are facing, but it's really affecting women and girls and all of us around the world. And it's important to state that the coronavirus and the COVID-19 pandemic is highlighting horrible word, and increasing challenges that were already out there around products, access to water, sanitation, and hygiene infrastructure, around the taboos. Because, for example, if you imagine now the schools have stopped, and where do girls receive their information if you can't attend a community meeting? So you have to turn online like we do today, but if you're not accessible to the internet, you're really lacking the information that you need, and health services. What we really wanted to stress in the infographic is there is action needed now, because periods don't stop for pandemics, and it's really critical to do some actions that are doable right now. And one of them is to continue the efforts to assure access to period products. We heard about this this morning, how difficult this is. And make sure that the wash infrastructure is available, like water is there, private toilets, and I think these are really quick and doable action. Another one is, if you can't turn to do the real on-the-ground education, use radio, use social media, to reach beyond, to try to reach people with the information they need. And overall, it's really critical to include menstrual health and hygiene into the emergency response right now. And it's a cross-sectoral issue. So it has to be in health, education, SRHR, and WASH and gender. So that's really important. And the point, the last point we really want to bring across is that there is action needed beyond the pandemic, because the pandemic at one point will eventually pass, and we cannot let the achievements that we achieve fall back to where we started. And we have achieved so much together, and we hope that that doesn't fall. So what is the call to action beyond the pandemic? We really need to address the global crisis, because it's so cross-sectoral, and it's really important for women's and girls' health, for girls' education, for human rights, for economic impact, for SRH, for sexual and reproductive health and rights, and for gender equality. And what is needed is that really it's needed to maintain the levels and increase the levels of investment. Because yeah, as Torsten said this morning, we believe that there is a world possible where women and girls can achieve their full potential and realize their dream. Period. So yes, so that was the infographic in a nutshell that we created, but together in collaboration with the African Coalition for MHM, Days for Girls, PSI Europe, WaterAid, and WCCC. We're all coming together in the Global Menstrual Collective, who we also talk later today. Please use this, share this, tweet this. I heard that this is the most popular content right now because it really concerns us. And to cut through media who are so concentrated on the issue of COVID-19, we need to have the arguments to make menstrual health and hygiene heard. And this can be some of the arguments that you can use or a tool that you can use. And we heard also that many of you are doing really their best to address the issue, such as product distribution, such as shifting from product production to mask, teaching women and girls remotely. So really thanks to you all who achieve so much despite this pandemic and invest time and energy to leave no girl and women behind. So yes, moving on, I think a country that is very knowledgeable about emergency is Nepal, who also had their earthquakes and so on. So my next guests are from the Menstrual Health Partner Alliance in Nepal. I have with us Gunaraj Shrestha, who is the convener of the alliance. I have Tabea Seitz from the GIZ, who is also supporting the alliance. And yeah, they're already showing it's time for action. And we'll see if we have Durga from Plan International and eventually Divya joining. So a warm welcome to you from calling in from Nepal.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello. So I wanted to ask you if the Undersecretary Divya is also joining the call, or if we should use maybe her message.
She cannot due to her personal reasons.
Okay, because yeah. So we will show her message now. Because I asked her, and I think it's great to have a statement by the Undersecretary of the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, what progress has been made in the country through the ministry, but also through the Practitioner Alliance.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Ina, for giving me the opportunity to share the progress made on menstrual health management in Nepal with you today. We have policies on education for menstrual health management through the curricular and extracurricular activities in schools. And the government has constructed toilet for girls with wash facilities in schools. And from last year, the government has, the government started to provide free sanitary pads to all girls studying in the community schools. That helps to increase their attendance and decrease their dropout rates. In addition to this, we have our very vibrant, as you said, we have very vibrant and collaborative NGOs and INGOs working with us. And they are working with the government in raising awareness and educating community about the menstrual health management and deconstructing some deeply rooted taboos and superstitions in Nepal. And finally, in 2018, we drafted a policy on dignified menstruation. It is still in the draft form, and that policy was drafted in collaboration with 4 concerned ministries. That is what we made till date on MHM in Nepal. Thank you.
Thank you. I think it's wonderful to hear that it was really a collaborative effort, not only from the partners, but also across the ministry, because it touches so many aspects. As you said, it touches toilets, it touches products in Nepal, but also the really deeply rooted traditions that we not being in Nepal heard a lot in the media about. And I know that there is a really big effort to address, for example, chapati and this. But I like that you address this holistically and collaboratively. Thank you for sharing.
Let me add one more thing.
Yes, please.
And to distribute the sanitary pad for all girls in community schools, we last year we developed a guideline, and in that guideline, through that guideline, we suggested schools to create awareness about Chaupadi and some taboos, some taboos about menstrual health management thing, and schools are doing this from this year.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Welcome back to live to talk to Gunaraj and Tavia. So we heard from Divya about the progress. Gunaraj, as a convener of the Practitioner Alliance, what areas do you want to tackle as a priority in the next years? And maybe you can unmute yourself so we can hear your answer. Can you unmute yourself, Gunaraj? Now you're audible now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Should I now?
Yes.
Okay. So there are multiple issues and problems regarding menstruation here in Nepal. The taboos, myth, and many issues are here. The COVID now has extra added more problems to the women and girls here in Nepal. And here, despite of all these issues and problems, we are trying to establish menstruation as a dignity of woman, right, in between. So will be next 1 year or so, since last 3 years we have been working, but next 1 year or so, we should be more working to establish menstruation as the dignity and pride of women and girls here, just to minimize the taboos and increase the dignity. These are the areas. So we are working in a quite comprehensive way also. So we are working in different sectors, because menstruations, for many people, it's a small things, but it has a multiple dimensions, right? It is affecting the education, it is affecting the health, it is affecting the dignity, it is affecting the human rights perspective. So in a comprehensive way, so next year or so, we'll be working especially on education sector also. So we have been working with the government to develop the school curriculum that should be more MHM friendly, right? We have been very closely working with the government and helping the government to develop curriculum. So far there is already draft curriculum. The government has already taken our feedback as MHM friendly. Now the government is planning to have a writing textbooks based on the curriculum. So government has asked us, our alliance, to help them to provide some reference materials. What really text should be written in that in the textbook, right? So this is one part, and the health part also, and also in the school there's a free pad distribution also. Government is seeking how to distribute the pads which are more healthy and more cheaper, and that is environmentally sound. So these are areas we will be working in the next 1 year or so.
As you said, you work with the government, with Divya and other ministries together. Question to you, and feel free, anyone, to answer. What actions have been planned for this year's MH Day in Nepal?
Okay, so again, should I?
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay.
Hello.
Oh, so Durga is there. Durga, maybe you can say something?
Yeah. Yeah, thank you very much for the question. Actually, we just completed our virtual program with the lead by Cabinet Minister of Women and Children. He was a promising man in the panel actually, and he has committed many things. The good thing is that he realized that we need to work for the dignified menstruation, and he promised that in the program he will be making support for making the dignified menstruation country. So that is the key agenda. I think we have to work as a supporting organization as well as from the MHMPA to advocate from the national level, provincial level, and local level. So working with the different level in from Plan International as well as from MHM representative, I will be more focusing for this agenda in future.
Yes, and we will be watching out. That's an amazing commitment they made, and you can follow up the advocacy. I'm very, very sorry that we're running out of time here. Wish I would have asked you also for your message, but I'm really sorry. We put your message, I promise, into the pre-recorded website later. I really thank you for joining. It's amazing what Nepal is achieving and the actors. And thank you for your time, and we'll be in touch soon. It's time for action in Nepal.
Time for action. Thank you, Ina.
Thank you, Tovia. Bye, Gunaraj.
Bye.
So it's time for action. And because it's time for action, we did some really amazing content, Torsten.
Yeah, so as part of this year's Menstrual Hygiene Day campaign, we again reached out to the entire community and asked you to send videos to us where you talk about the world that you wish to see, and also use the symbol of the bracelet to commit your to show your commitment to action. I think what I heard from Sören and our creative team, it was one of the toughest tasks ever, because there were so many great contributions from all around the world to really pick those that eventually made it into the video. So yeah, but in the end, I think the video is extremely powerful, and really is a testimony to the commitment and to the power of our movement to effectuate change on menstrual health and hygiene globally.
Maybe should we have a look at it?
Yeah, Jule.
Okay.
Roll, please.
My screen?
Can I go down?
I want a world where every woman and girl can enjoy their sexual and reproductive health and rights and not be limited by their periods.
It's 2020. No girl, no woman should be held back because she menstruates.
I want a world where we can talk about periods openly with no fear.
I want open conversations about menstruation, and I want all men and boys to be supportive.
It's time for men to help destigmatize menstruation.
I believe we should try and overcome all kinds of social taboos that are out there in this 21st century.
I want all disabled girls and women to have access to pads, menstrual hygiene management, education, and period-friendly facilities everywhere.
We need inclusion of all women and girls with disabilities as we develop menstrual hygiene products and infrastructure.
Sanitation facilities have to be accessible to all menstruators. Leave no one behind.
We need equality.
It's time for action.
We need women's solidarity.
It's time for action.
I want to see a world where taxes on period products are scrapped.
안전하고 생태적이고 저렴한 월급용품이 필요합니다.
Countries remove taxes on pads to make them affordable for everyone.
All women and girls around the world should be able to afford any menstrual hygiene product of their choice.
Good menstrual hygiene enables women and girls to reach their full potential.
Increased investment in research,
for better menstrual health and hygiene for all.
So it's now time to increase our investment in MHM.
It's time for cross-sectoral menstrual health programming for all.
I want to live in a world where no girl is stopped from having an education because of her period.
Every girl should have information about menstruation before their first period.
I strongly agree that periods should end a sentence and not a girl's education.
At Always, we want every girl to be able to manage her period with confidence. It's time for action.
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 Time for action. It's time for action. Act now.
For sexual and reproductive health and rights.
For girls' education.
For human rights.
For women's and girls' health.
For economic development.
For gender equality.
It's time for action.
Wow, I really get goosebumps when I see that video, and I think we received over 40 videos, and it was really tough to do the selection for it. Yeah, we talked about we really wanted to get a full picture of where menstrual health and hygiene management is needed, and one of the areas where it's really challenging are in emergency settings. And we also hardly talk about what's happening in the Arab region with menstrual health and hygiene. It's an area we really seldom hear about. And therefore, I would like to welcome Rosanna Keen. She's the WASH sector lead from World Vision Afghanistan, and her colleague Masuma Rouli, she's the WASH engineer. Sorry, they're not there. I've Gunaraj on my picture. And Gunaraj, sorry, this is one of the glitches. Can you please leave the Zoom meeting in full? Just press the red button. You can join. You can watch the rest of the show on our website. Yeah? And hello, Rosanna. Once again, we just connected this morning.
Yeah, hi.
Hi. I hope Masuma is able to join, but I know that there are some internet connections, even problems this morning. Are you fine with answering her questions too? And hoping that she will be able maybe to join?
Yeah, I think she just said that she's just joined, so I don't know where she is though.
Okay, maybe we just start with the first question, and then we switch the questions around, and she then picks up from you. Okay, my first question is to really look at women and girls living in vulnerable situation. What are the challenges that they face in IDP settlements you work in Afghanistan? Oh, there she is.
Oh, actually, Masuma's just joining.
Yes, okay,
so,
perfect. Yep. And she's bringing a great testimonial. Masuma, welcome. You can unmute your microphone, maybe, so we can also hear you. Yes, there you are. Hi. Hi again.
Thank you so much.
And we were really just waiting for you because you give such great testimonials. So what are the challenges of women and girls facing in the IDP settlements you work in?
Well, actually, when I went through them, I understood the situation is much worse than what we thought. It is a very sensitive concept that turned into a stigma and shame that says menstruation is a sign of impurity. Women and girls suffer from lack of information, which leads everybody to manage their menstruation hygiene with little tradition and definitely wrong directions. For example, we recognized some myths among them, like don't wash yourself during menstruation, it will cause infertility, avoid using vegetables, don't walk, don't run, don't sport, unintentionally they damage their body with this lack of information. Another challenge is difficulties to access the materials, particularly for the people who have fled their homes and don't have an income. Lack of good quality materials has health implications, including reproductive tract and urinary tract infections. It also has implications for school attendance, as girls will not want to attend a school if they do not have the materials to manage their menstruation. One of the girls who participate in our program told us about the challenges that she had for providing sanitary pad. She said, we are a large family, so we can barely afford to buy food. I have 5 sisters, and all of them have to buy sanitary pads each month, which is costly for us. And we cannot afford it. I remember one day when I didn't have sanitary pads. It was time to go to school, and I didn't want to miss school. I had a brown scarf that I really liked it. I had to cut it into pieces and used it as sanitary pads. I cried a lot over missing my scarf, and it wasn't the last time. And I had to do the same thing with my other clothes too. Now, with the pandemic, we have market closing, to access to sanitary pads is even more limited, and a lot of people have lost their job and made it to a serious challenge for them.
Thank you, Masuma, to share. I think it's really heartbreaking to hear about the story and the example you shared. I think that makes it really tangible and unfortunately very unbelievable. Rosanna, how did you address in your programs the challenges that Masuma just shared, and maybe what are the impact that you've seen for the program?
Sure. Yeah, so aside from the infrastructural improvements that we've been doing in schools, the 2 main initiatives that World Vision has been working on is through Days for Girls and also the development of a WASH and Islam curriculum with menstrual hygiene management in it, which is used with religious leaders. So I'll just talk about the first one. With the support of Days for Girls, World Vision has been assisting 1,000 women and girls in the settlements for internally displaced people in the western region of the country. And this is to ensure that they can manage their menstrual periods hygienically. It's delivered through menstrual hygiene information sessions, reproductive health sessions, as well as distribution of menstrual hygiene kits. And so the kits, they contain all of the necessary menstrual hygiene materials for girls and women so that they can manage their menstrual periods hygienically. So that includes reusable sanitary pads, cleaning materials, instructions, and it's all packed into quite a discreet drawstring bag. So the women and girls are shown how to make the menstrual pads themselves. And maybe Masuma can provide an example of some success from that.
Yeah, sure. We selected 1,000 girls and women from 1,000 families to spread the message to 1,000 families. One of the participants have shown the hygiene kits to her family, and her mother, which found the kit very useful, sewed the same sanitary napkins to her other daughters too, in order to reduce the cost of buying sanitary napkins from market each month. Also, we have a lot of women and girls that no longer experience shame from menstruation because now they know it's a miracle and sign of a healthy body.
Thanks again. I think it makes it very lively. Rosanna, just to pick you up on the religious leaders, because I think they're really important in spreading message. Just maybe very short information what you did with a religious leader as champions for the issue.
Sure, yeah. So we developed a WASH and Islam curriculum for our ongoing work with religious leaders. And the content of that curriculum was co-created with our staff and also with religious leaders here in the western region of the country. And so there was two-way dialogue on the development of that curriculum. And the curriculum contains a section on menstrual hygiene management so that religious leaders can dispel myths around menstruation from an Islamic perspective. So we've finalised that curriculum. We've received endorsement from the Ministry of Religious Affairs and the Hajj. We've trained our staff in it, and now we're ready to deploy it throughout all of our WASH programming.
Excellent.
Wonderful.
Yeah, wonderful. I don't want to close the interview without asking Masuma for your message to the global movement watching today.
Well, action and investment in menstrual health and hygiene is critical and everyone's responsibility. Being able to manage periods safely enables women and girls full participation in society, dignity, and empowerment. Assisting displaced women and girls who have fled traumatic situations with very few resources is something we really urge the global movement to keep in focus.
Great.
Thank you, Masuma. That was wonderful words. Thank you for joining today, and have a good rest of the Menstrual Hygiene Day. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thorsten.
Hard stories. I think that just kind of like really makes it tangible what not being able to access menstrual product really means. Like to hear that personal story, it's as you said, like it's almost like heartbreaking. And I think like again, like the key point that I think she makes, it's time for action. It's really important to not just talk more, but to do more, and that will require more investment in the issue.
Yeah,
we need fuel in the tank to solve the problem.
Yeah, in every areas.
Yeah, everyone.
Yeah. I wanted to initially we also wanted to have an interview with Bhutan.
Yeah.
But instead we're showing now one or two videos.
Depends on
because
how much time I get.
Yeah, exactly. Bhutan is doing Menstrual Hygiene Day campaigns since a few years, who are always blowing us away, honestly. Yeah. And this year they also taken up the bracelet into their called Red Dot campaign.
Yeah.
Jule, maybe show it.
Yeah, let's have a look. Are you on my screen? Yeah.
I support Red Dot Bhutan. I support Red Dot Bhutan.
I support Red Dot Bhutan.
I support Red Dot Bhutan.
I support Red Dot Bhutan.
Oh, so touching. And again, so much creativity and so many great ideas, and it's always so heartwarming. Okay, you will behave. So, and as we have a little more time, then I can also show you another one. Who is it? The minister of Bhutan. A message from the minister of Bhutan. Let's have a look at it. 1 second.
Zambo, today as we face an unprecedented public health crisis, we are once again reminded that women are disproportionately affected. Amidst this pandemic, we have many other public health issues that needs our immediate attention. Being a woman, menstrual hygiene management is one such cause that is close to my heart. In an effort towards ensuring these primary public health issues are addressed, even during COVID-19 pandemic, we have ensured, upon the command of His Majesty the King, that the sanitary pads are included in the essential commodity list and be available at all times to come. We thank our King for being the source of inspiration for all Bhutanese and for being sensitive to the needs of women and girls. Life must not stop and periods does not stop for pandemic. Therefore, I support the Red Dot initiative that stands for empowerment, dignity, hope, love, and solidarity. Tashdale.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that came from Bhutan, but we will also have another or some other posts from Bhutan.
Yeah.
There's been some activity during the last days, and I think there will be much more today.
Yeah. Make sure to check it out.
Yes.
Because we had to shift a little bit with the program, we put up an interview that we did today, yesterday. With a representative of the coalition in Pakistan, that is Tanya Khan. She's the country coordinator for the Water Supply and Sanitation Collaborative Council, and Hina Kauzar, who is project coordinator for WaterAid Pakistan. We did the recording today also because they're breaking Eid. The Eid holidays are over and they're traveling today. So enjoy the video with these both very passionate ladies.
Yes, and my next guests today are from Pakistan. Representing the coalition of actors. We have Tanya Khan, who's the country coordinator for the Water Supply and Sanitation Collaborative Council. And we have Hina Kauzar, who's project coordinator for WaterAid Pakistan, and who are excellent guests today to talk really about the progress in Pakistan. And Pakistan has celebrated MH Day over the last years in national events, but also across the country. So I really wanted to feature Pakistan in today's MH Day live show. So a warm welcome, Hina and Tanya.
Thank you so much. We are very happy to be part of this show.
Yes. And as part of the show, my question to you is really to get to know the challenges that are there in Pakistan for women and girls to manage menstruation. Can you maybe explain what are the specific challenges, Tanya?
Well, you know, if you see that menstrual hygiene is relatively a silent issue in a country like Pakistan. And so we have multiple challenges, especially in vulnerable communities and hard to reach areas. And the challenges vary from like awareness, as well as misconceptions, products, disposal mechanism. So all these are like wide array of challenges that are very much there.
But you also made good progress to address this in Pakistan and really dedicated. So can you share with us what kind of progress has been made in recent years in terms of policy programs, research?
Well, definitely, like, you know, in Pakistan, over the past few years, various organizations were working on the issue of MHM as part of their hygiene and sanitation programs. So there was a need to have a coalition. So a working group at the national level was formed, which now presently has membership of more than like 35, 40 organizations. Simultaneously also, over the last 2-3 years, we have also had provincial chapters, the subnational chapters of these coalitions, the working groups. So we all are working towards strengthening these coalitions and making them effective. Another prime area of focus has been the capacity building. So a cadre of master trainers have been trained over a period of years through series of trainings at the international level as well as national. And currently we are working with having the training of trainers in each of the provinces, so more provincial government departments can be engaged. And then, of course, we have MHM in schools, WIN strategy at the national and provincial level, where MHM has become a priority area of focus. One of the things that as a coalition that we did, and Hina is here and she will second me, is the standardization of training materials and modules on MHM. So over the past 2 years, we've been working on that, and unanimously we have harmonized those materials. So, you know, the same message goes down. Another thing is the indicator, and there has been the SIN technical working group has developed harmonized indicators on MHM and are like, you know, sort of making sure that it's implemented in the girls' schools. I mean, there's a long list, but I'll be very specific. There's been a C4D strategy on MHM, which UNICEF has supported as well. So the religious leaders were engaged and sensitized on MHM. So, I mean, they are, you know, the taboos around MHM. So all the religious sects have actually agreed to now work on that and create awareness, which is a big, you know, milestone for us. So in the coming years, there will be efforts on making sure that they sort of are vocal and lit from their respective areas. A puberty book was developed 2 to 3 years ago, which has been, it's a supplementing reading material for girls in schools in Pakistan. And I think it's Sindh province which has already endorsed it, and efforts are being made so that in other provinces as well, this book is used by the education department. There have been series of innovations on MHM, and one of the things that I wanted to quote was in 2019, mass media campaign on, which was a no chutti campaign, meaning no school absenteeism, was held last year by UNICEF, and it reached 1 million youth through social media. Pakistan also participated in this Global Generation Unlimited context, and a team of youth actually have been selected as one of the 5 global winners, and they are going to be, they're availing 20,000 USD and developing and implementing a business model for MHM. At the national level, we've also put together an action plan, the first national MHM working group, first sector comprehensive action plan, which will be rolling out into the provinces. WaterAid, I would leave Hina to tell us more about this evidence and research initiative. It's a project-based study which was conducted, and I think the study links absenteeism. So Hina, would you like to have a few words on that?
Now back to Tanya. What are the challenges you as a coalition of actors want to tackle in the next year?
Well, you know, especially now with this COVID pandemic there, we are really feeling challenged, especially, you know, when it comes to MHM and how to roll out MHM messages in the communities. So what we plan doing now is working on a national level strategy and a plan on devising a mechanism on how to reach out with MHM messages and making sure that, you know, even the quarantine centers and the communities, you know, how we sort of package MHM. So this is something that we need to develop consensus on as part of the coalition. And we are hoping that in the next week or so, we'll be having a webinar. We are planning a webinar where we'll be inviting all our sector stakeholders as well as experts from regional and global level as well to help us guide that process. So we are happy to do that. The other area is that, you know, since now we are all like homebound, but we do feel that this is also the time to encourage and not break the capacity building initiatives. So we will be using our online facilities, Zoom facilities, to have series of webinars and online trainings and reaching out to, you know, various other stakeholders, bringing in more stakeholders, new actors into the process as well. And so, I mean, on that front. Now, also one of our challenges that, you know, we as civil society organizations and external support agencies do not have that kind of a capacity to roll out the way the government through its government machinery and the concerned government departments can. So one of the objective is that, you know, of course, in the past, we have engaged them, we have built capacity of certain trainers in the departments, but now the time is to help them roll it out and also have financial, you know, because you need to have finances. So encouraging the government to align it with the existing initiatives as well as to rope in more finances and to roll out. Also creating mass awareness through social media is one of the key priority area that we as a coalition will be working on. And lastly, but not the least, linking MHM with human rights. That's very critical because it is still something that we are struggling and getting this become more like a human rights issue. So we plan engaging with parliamentarians, policymakers, and senior government high-level officials, and getting this to be addressed as a human rights issue. Thank you so much.
Thank you, fantastic. And as you said, it's time for action in Pakistan, but also around the world. This is the slogan of this year's MH Day. And as my last question to you, what is your message to the global movement watching you speaking from Pakistan today?
Hina, would you like to add in a word before I do? Yeah.
Sorry, are you saying to me?
Yeah, I said, do you want to give in a message or should I just continue? Is there a message that you feel, would you like to? Okay.
Yes, of course. Message is like, it's global message. Yes, there is pandemic, but periods doesn't stop during pandemics. So we struggle for that, we're working for that, and we continue our work for Pakistan to bring this menstrual hygiene management issue on surface. So that's our best.
And I would just like to add in that menstrual hygiene is still a silent issue in many parts of the world, including Pakistan. And I think this is the time that we need to come forward more profoundly and break the silence and reach out to all these people in vulnerable situations and hard to reach areas, which is very critical. So I think we sort of the message that we need to take down is on this front. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanya and Hina. And I wish you a good rest of the day and end of the Eid holidays. Thank you for the interview. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.
So much as well.
Yes.
And we're back live. My last guest for the first spotlight session this morning is Ines Gonçalves. She works for the World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts. She's based in the UK, and we invited her into this spotlight session because she wants to tell you all about the U report that they're running currently with UNICEF. She's just sharing how you can join, and in the evening session, as a small teaser in the America session, we have her presenting results. Welcome, Ines, and happy Menstrual Hygiene Day.
Yes, happy Menstrual Hygiene Day to anyone, and thank you for this opportunity to talk about the U-Report poll and the type of experiences that we're collecting from girls and young women all around the world to understand what is happening with their periods, how do they feel about it, has COVID-19 impacted in any way? So we're very, very happy that Wash United is with us on this journey, and we wanted to invite anyone that's watching this and any of your friends, colleagues, peers to join on this poll. It's very, very easy. You just have to go to your Facebook or Messenger. You search for the two words U-Report Global, which is this platform that we use at WAGS and UNICEF and other partners to collect and amplify young people's opinions. And then you just send the words MHD or the three letters MHD. And then you just start receiving some very few short and interactive questions about how are you feeling? Is it been hard to manage your periods? What type of experience you want to talk with us? And we'll be collecting that data so then we can understand exactly how the world and how girls and young women are facing their periods and menstrual hygiene, and how can we better support them. So we just invite everyone to do it. You just have to take your phone, search for U-Report Global. You will see this icon, yellow and black. Send the letters MHD, and then you start.
Yeah. Thanks. I actually looked at it this morning and I saw already Uganda super active. I saw Indonesia super active in the local language. I found I couldn't understand, but it was menstruati, so that I could understand. And yeah, we talk about with you in the evening session about the first results, because I think it will be huge numbers and really interesting insights that we can share even by the end of the day. Thank you, Ines, and talk to you later.
Yes, thank you, and please join, answer the poll, so then we have results to share.
Yeah, exactly. Talk to you later.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye. Talking about numbers, I hand over to Yule. to wrap up the session with some highlights about numbers.
Yeah. And the numbers are pretty exciting, so I'm happy to do that now. Can we get on my screen? Okay, we are already on my screen. So just a short introduction. This is our dashboard in our social monitoring tool, Meltwater. So as I said, we see, maybe not today, but all in all, we see every tweet, every post, everything you share on social media and in the media, and we do it with Meltwater. So this is a monitoring tool that tracks really every post and every tweet in social networks, as well as every published article, or maybe also radio features, as long as there's something written about it on the internet. And those are the most important numbers for today. I want to show you something. As you can see, there's a pretty delightful development of numbers, all in all. And right now we have a social reach of about, let's have a look right now, 514 million. So that means that all your posts, so this is only social media, that all your posts, all your tweets, shares reached 540 million people. Sören and Thorsten and Ina, you're hearing the numbers for the first time. It's really cool.
It's only morning.
It's only half of MH Day is over, and so there's a lot to come, I guess. So these numbers make me very happy as social media guy here. This is also very interesting because it displays the media reach, and of course because of COVID-19, this is a little tricky because COVID is omnipresent in the media. But even though right now we have a reach of about you can see 2 billion. So that's a lot. We will get to some newspaper articles later on in the next session, so little teaser, get on board in the next session. This one, even though there is a little red number, the total contributions, it's right now it's a little lower than last year, so it's a benchmark, it's a comparison to the MH Day 2019, and but even though there's this whole COVID situation and there's less media coverage than last year, we are only 5% below the numbers of last year in total contributions. So guys, may I remind you to tag, to share, to post, and to use our hashtags MHDay, MHDay 2020, it's time for action, and periods of pandemic. So I think we should crack this 5%, right? We should do that.
I mean,
and also a little kind of fun fact, even though all that you're doing is of course priceless, this is a benchmark for what we must have spent to get the same reach that we got so far. So if we would have wanted this reach, like what do we have, 540 million people and this media coverage, and we would have spent in ads to get this reach, we must have spent $20 million. So, well, as I said, you're priceless, and all of your contributions are priceless. But here's a little benchmark. I think,
So, Julia, just to clarify, does that mean that in the end, what our movement kind of like does today, what all the partner organizations do today, if kind of like a company went to an ad agency, they would have to put $20 million on the table to have that
to get the same
in terms of communication, which is pretty amazing, I think. That's really, really impressive. It again shows the power of our collective action.
And that's only until now.
That's only until
now.
Half the day.
I mean, like, so basically, I mean, the sad thing is that this year we can't come together in events. We can't kind of like meet and have like on the ground activations and activities. But the more is happening on social media, everybody's joining and everybody's participating. I think one point I also want to make is that we have a partnership with Meltwater, which is one of the leading social media monitoring tools in the world, and what they find is pretty impressive. And we do have a charity deal, so that enables us actually to afford a tool like that. Yeah, so we're kind of like that's the numbers. We come to conclude with the session, right?
We're almost there for the first.
We're almost
spotlight.
done. We want to thank all of our guests for their amazing contributions to the session. Anyone who watched and who tweeted and who helped raise awareness and share and get other people into the session. Thank you for joining us. We also want to give a special thank you to all our financial supporters who continue to help make MHD happen and who also helped us make Studio MHD happen today. Procter & Gamble with their brands Always, This Is Elle and Whisper, the World Bank Group, the Case for Her, the French Ministry of Europe and Foreign Affairs, GIZ and BMZ, Kimberly Clark with their brand Kotex, Welthungerhilfe, Citron Hygiene, World Vision, the Merck Family Foundation, and Dr. Schnell. Thank you very much. Without your support, today wouldn't have been possible. Thank you.
Yes, a big thanks also from my side. Yeah, we're at the end of the first spotlight session, and hey, that was really fun. Yeah, it was a bit stressed, as we said. This is the first time we really did that, and I think it actually went well, and I hope you really enjoyed it too, as much as we did here. So if you enjoyed it, we have a next session coming up in 1.5 hours that is focusing on Africa and Europe. And we have activists and organizations, including Vivian Onano, Janet Mbuguya. We have the BMZ, Welthungerhilfe, Procter & Gamble, WAX with their projects, and we have coalitions from Ghana and Tanzania presenting what they do.
Exciting.
I'm really looking forward to that session. Even if you're not from Africa and Europe, still tune in.
Yes.
Doesn't matter. Tweet in still like crazy. Hashtag it's time for action. Hashtag MHD 2020. And thanks to Torsten. Thanks to Jule.
Thanks to you.
Thanks to you. And see you in 1.5 hours. Bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.